So I think we are recording. Yeah, there we go. All right, so it is December 7th, and I just graded the first class for the quiz we took on Friday, which was about angles and triangles and congruent parts of congruent triangles. And we are definitely going to need some retakes. So the grades were definitely lower than I thought. There were one or two 100s. I had a couple of 80, 70, but then there are some people that weren't quite there yet. So I'm doing the same thing I did for the last two quizzes, technically the last three quiz grades, and I'm doing the quiz right in front of you. And I'll give you a different version of it with different numbers. So there will be zero difference in the process that you need to go through. I'll just change the images and the numbers a little bit. So with that in mind, here's the quiz. So the first one most people have gotten so far. There were really two ways to solve it. I'm going to do the short version. This is an exterior angle. Oh, the screen's not working. Great. What is it that fixes that? There's something that will fix that, but I don't know what it is. Okay, that's for my finger, so let's just use my finger, I guess, instead of a little pin. So that is an exterior angle. We learned a concept or a rule that the one exterior angle is equal to the sum of the two opposite interior angles. So the two angles all the way across added together. So in this case, the simple version is y equals 48 plus 98. And that was the answer. So 146 was the answer for this version. Now, there was a way you could have solved, and some people kind of made this mistake. You could have solved for this angle right here and then subtracted that from 180 to get y because of that concept of the semicircle right there. Unfortunately, some kids just added those two together, subtracted it from 180, and they gave me that as their answer, and that is not correct. And if you just look at angle y, it should be clear that angle y is much bigger than, what would it be, 30, I think 36 degrees or something like that. Angle y is definitely not 36 degrees. So anyway, and that has nothing to do with the next problem, by the way. It's just a coincidence. So next problem, almost nobody got this right. Some people got some points on it, but almost nobody got it right. And I get that the algebra is a little tough, but it's not that bad. So on the retake, people should be fine if you watch this video. So there were two concepts. In this figure, there is an X. So that should have triggered you that, hey, this is about vertical angles. Again, I told you do what you know. I didn't ask you to solve for this angle right here, but you need to. There is no way to solve this. Some people tried to do the same thing we did in number one. 36 is not an exterior angle. The exterior angles, I'm going to get rid of all that. If you need to go back, you can go back. That is an exterior angle, or that's an exterior angle. 36 is not an exterior angle. And I need to go back because apparently I didn't save that little arrow the way it needs to be saved. So, okay. So 36 is this little angle in between, which is not an exterior angle. It's across from an interior angle. So it can't be an exterior angle. If you don't understand that, you just have to know it's not an exterior angle. Exterior angles are a linear pair with an interior. So like you could make a semicircle through an exterior and an interior. I can't make a semicircle that goes through 36 and through this interior one right here. Saving this real quick so it doesn't delete again. All right. So next, once we know that there is an X there, then we should know this interior angle is 36 degrees. It's a vertical angle. So it's the same as that 36 degrees, which again is not an exterior angle. That's not the definition of exterior. So now if I know that angle is 36, I know that's 7y subtract 6, that's 3y. I know those three interior angles have to add up to 180. That was the equation you needed to set up. I think maybe one person set the equation up right, and that was it. Oop, that's a Y. Oh, let's just go back. So 36 is one of them, 3Y is one of them, and 7Y. Subtract 6, and that all has to add up to be 180. So we solve out for Y. That would be 30. I'm going to do a long version because there's more to this problem. I subtract 30 from both sides, and I get 10Y equals 150, Y equals 15. So that's part of the problem. I can't remember. I think some people, one or two, maybe did get that far. But then the key was once you solve for a variable, why is it not working? So weird. It is not. I don't know why it's not letting me write up there. So the question is asking, what is the measure of angle ABC? It does not say solve for Y. What is the measure of ABC? A lot of people didn't even understand what that was asking, which was kind of concerning because that's just knowing what an angle is. And that was one of the very first things we did. Let's see if I can do this without it. Yeah. This, all you do is you follow the left. God, what is wrong with this thing? Man, there. This is the angle. We just follow the letters. We go from A to B to C. So that right there is angle ABC. So they wanted you, or I wanted you, to plug in for Y into this 15, which is what we just got when we solved. So 7 times 15, that's the Y. Subtract 6 would be the measure of that angle. So was that 105 subtract 6, so like 99 would have been the measure. 99 degrees. The next one, I was really surprised that more people didn't get this right or get more parts of it. This is not a very complex. This is a lower level question if you're talking about like the standard for this particular lesson. That's like a level 1 or level 2 question. So we've learned most of these before. Vertical angles, linear pair. We did a question exactly like this in class. And I showed it to you again right before the quiz. So again, you hopefully watching this video are going to put a little more time into it because it was clear a lot of people didn't put any time at all into studying. Didn't go back, watch the video, anything. You should have had it in your notes. You could have looked at your notes. So again, concept 1, vertical angles. So that means angle 1 is 46 degrees. So if I write in 46 degrees here, well, now I can see that I have 2 interior angles and I'm only missing that angle. So to find what the measure of angle 2 is, I just do that whole adding up to 180 thing. 46 plus 58 plus angle 2 equals 180. You add these two together and you subtract it from 180. I'm taking some shortcuts. That's 104. So 76 would be angle 2. All right, so there's your answer there. 76, 46. Well, now if I know this is 70, I'm just going to kind of write over the top. A lot of people thought that angle 2 was 86 or angle 3. 86 is the angle right here in between those two. Angle 2 is an interior angle. Angle 3 is an interior angle of the triangle on the right. 86 is just an angle in between them. So now that I know this is 76 over here, well, I'm just going to erase it. You can go back and look at the answers. What did I do? Huh. That was, oh, no, why is it not letting me? I do not know what is going on in this application lately. I can't erase anything. If I do that. Oh my goodness, I don't know what's going on. I'm going to try to erase it this way then I guess. So annoying. All right, so now if I know this is 76 right here, I know this one is 86 next to it. This was what we did in class when we did this one. Those are three angles that have to add up to 180 degrees. If I can draw that semicircle. All we did is we took a line, would be this line down here, and we just split it into two, well, actually three angles. So those three angles have to add up to 180 if the line is 180 originally. So if they have to add up to 180, I just say 76 plus 86 plus angle 3. And you should be showing this math. A lot of people didn't show any math, so there was no partial credit if you missed it. Again, add those two. That gives me 162. So if I subtract that, angle 3 is 18. 180 subtract 162. So angle 3 would be 18. So now that I know this is 18 and here, I'm going to do this. I'm going to try. Oh, yep, I think we did. Yeah. So that's 18 for 4 and 5. Those should not be difficult if you made it this far. So I'm just going to quickly say I could just say angle 5, which angle 5 is an exterior angle. And it's an exterior angle because it's a linear pair with an interior angle. So that's a quick check to know if it's exterior or not. It would equal 18 plus 100. Or we could also solve for 4 right now by saying 18 plus 100 plus angle 4 has to equal 180 because all interior angles add up to 180. So 5 would be those two added together. Angle 4 would be those two added together, but then subtracted from 180. So that would give me what, 62. So go back, watch that one several times. That's not a super complex problem. The math is not complex at all. Number 2, this would have been like number 2. That one's a little tricky. Number 1, most people got. That was pretty easy. Then we went to this page. A lot of people did not know what to do on this. Couldn't even set stuff up. I gave you a hint, which I don't know if anybody even read. Just write down what angles are congruent, like all of them. Write down all of the sides that are congruent. Some people wrote just one. A is congruent to D, but write all of them. That'll get you a lot of points on this problem. More than half the points on this problem, probably, especially if you can then set the equations up. So you could go, well, if I know to use the names, which is how we match things up, if I know those two triangles are congruent, just write down which angles, which each angle is represented by a letter. So angle A, and I don't even care if you don't, I'll just write this. A equals D. That's it. B, E, and again, you have to know these are angles. B is equal to E, C is equal to F. Well, then do that same thing with the lines on the sides. So side AB, so that's the first two letters. Side AB is equal to side DE. Side BC, so I'm just picking side BC now. BC, so now I look up at the letters. Well, BC are the second two. Well, I don't even need to look at the other picture. Is equal to EF. And then lastly, side AC. So where is AC? So AC is the first and third letter. So that is congruent to side DF. So AC is equal to DF. You just match the letters up. I mean, that right there is more than half the points without ever doing any math. Just showing me you understand how to match sides. Now, when you solve, you're just plugging stuff into those little equations. So if I want to solve, I'm going to get rid of some of this stuff. So if I want to solve for x, let's say, which is probably the toughest one, I just need to match up where an x in one triangle matches an x in the other triangle. Well, here's an x in one triangle. I can't really do anything with the x's inside this triangle. I mean, there is a way to do it, but it's not the easiest thing to do. So I'm not going to go over it. I need to match up an x in one triangle with an x in another one. So I could start with the 2x plus 15 and then just find, well, what is b equal to in the other triangle? Because that's what I would set equal to 2x plus 15. Well, here it is right here. There's b right there. It equals e. So now I go over to e and I set those two things equal right there. So if I set those two equal, that's one equation. It works. There's actually two. So I'm going to show you the other one because the other one's a little easier to do math. So that would equal 4x subtract 21, and then you solve for x. But I also have another place, I'll do this one in blue, where I have x in D. Well, what is D equal to in the other triangle? Well, there's D. It's equal to A. So I could set those equal. So A is 60. It equals D, which is 3x plus 6. Now, that's a much easier one to solve. Subtract 6 on the right. Well, if you subtract 6 on the right, you got to subtract it on the left. So you'd get 3x equals 54. Now you divide by 3 on both sides, and you get x is 18. So that was how you would solve for x. The next one, the easiest one, I'm going to go to the easiest one. Z was the easiest one by far. There was no math at all to solve for Z. None. And I'm going to erase a bunch of this stuff now so you can go back and look at those equations if you need to. I'm going to leave all the stuff on the right as far as what matches up. Can I get rid of those things? I don't know. Let's see. Yeah, all right, let's do that. All right. So now for Z, I say, okay, well, if I need to solve for Z, it's its own thing. There's no, well, yeah, I mean, maybe there's calculations. I don't know yet, I guess. But there's Z. Z is a side. There's no degree symbol. So Z is the length of AB. So I just need to find where AB is. Oh, there it is right there. AB. It matches up with DE in the other triangle. So I just go to DE. There's DE. So those sides are congruent, and that's just a number. So Z is 13. It's the same length as DE. There was no math involved in that. So now I need to go to Y. Y is a little tricky also. Y matches up. So Y is angle F. Oh, let's get rid of it. Just to keep it clean. You can always go backwards if you need to go backwards and find it. All right, so let's get rid of that too. So again, Y is the measure of F. There's a degree symbol there, so it's telling you it's the measure of an angle. It's right where angle F is. So again, angle F means this is Y. That measurement right there is Y degrees. Well, I just need to see, okay, well, which angle in the other triangle matches up with F? Well, there's F. It matches up with C. And here's my problem. There's nothing in C. I have no idea what C is. So there's a couple ways to solve this. I've solved for X, right? We did that as the very first step. I could, and once you've solved for a variable, you can always plug it back in wherever you see that variable. So I could plug X back in into all of these little expressions that have X. And then I could solve for all of those angles, which is what you wind up having to do. Once you've solved for those angles, you can solve for either this missing angle, which will be the same as Y, or you could just solve for Y right here in this if you solve for this first and then this. Because then you would know two of the three interior angles and you would subtract that from 180 to get the measure of angle F, which would be what y equals. Or like I said, you could solve for C, which is what I'm going to do. So all right, so we know X is 18. So I'm going to say, okay, well, let me solve for this angle right here, angle B. So 2 times 18, that's a multiplication symbol, not a very good one. Oh boy, it got worse. Not as good, I guess I need plus 15. So that's 36 plus 15. So that would be 51, I believe. So now I know this angle here is 51. Well, I know that's 60. I know that's 51. These three added together have to be 180. So if you do the math on that, add those 60 plus 51, subtract it from 180, C equals 69 degrees. And that's the same thing as Y, because again, we said C matches up with F over here. And Y is the measure of F. Y degrees is the measure of F. So that Y equals 69 degrees. So that one was a little complex. This one was much less complex. I said you could do either one. So not many people even tried 5, but it turned out that was much easier, I think. Same concept. I match up using the names right there. Okay, I would still write down. I would still write down all of the angles that match up. A equals E in this case. Don't think A always equals D. B equals D. And here's kind of a weird one. C equals C. So that seems a little weird, but not really so much if you look at it, because this is vertical angles. We have an X crossing. So they would have to be equal. So they're both, so in this triangle here, that's angle C. And then in the triangle below, that's angle C there. Well, yeah, they're vertical angles. They should be equal. So it makes sense that they match up where we wrote C equals C. So now I could do the sides in the same way. First two letters are A, B. So that would be this side here where the 3x minus 10 is. That's the length of that side, which I'm definitely going to need to use. So that matches up with side DE or ED. Let's see, next side, BC. And you don't always need to use all of these, but if you show me you know this, like I said, I can give you a lot of points. DC. And then we have to use the first and third letter. To erase some of it so you can see what I'm talking about. So the first and third letter are going to represent this side here, side AC for that triangle, the top triangle. So side AC matches up with the first and third. So that would be EC. So that blue line there that you see on the screen matches up with this second blue line here. I didn't want to original. We'll just do that. All right. So now that you've written that and gotten quite a few points, you just have to match stuff up. If I need to solve for X, which is the first thing, there's only one place where there's an X. And that's why this particular problem turned out to be way easier than the other one. I don't even know if I'll put the other one on. We might do some exit tickets. Oh yeah, I meant to say that. Probably going to give you a bunch of exit tickets on this quiz next week, because I know a lot of people are never going to come and retake it with only 5 days. Some people never took it in the first place. So just to make sure you put some time in and practice this, you're going to get some exit tickets where I'll just give you some of these same exact problems, and you just have to do them for your exit ticket. Some of them might be worth 2 or 3 points even. Like I might give you that really hard one for people that are really trying to get their grade up. And if you're willing to put in the time and practice, you can get 2, 3, maybe even 4 points for the extra ticket if I give you the really hard one we just did. All right, so 3x subtract 10 is the length of AB. I just need to find AB. Well, there it is. What does it match up with? Well, it matches up with ED. So I just go all the way down and find that in the other triangle. So there it is right there. Well, the length, again, this is about length because there's no degree symbol in that. So I need to use the one without the degree symbol. Some people, I think, try to use the 36.87. That's an angle, not a side. So I need to just say, well, those two have to be equal. That's what the highlighted ones mean. They're equal, the same length. So 3x subtract 10, and that's why the math was much easier, equals 12. Add 10 to both sides. Get rid of it on the left, and then divide by 3. If you divide by 3, it comes out to be 7.333333 forever. So that was X, pretty simple. And then Y, not many people got Y, a few people did. Again, not many people tried this one. I think if you would have tried it, you would have probably done better on this one than the other one. So for Y, let's just switch to red. I might be able to do it without erasing everything. So Y is just an angle. It's just that. It corresponds to this one here, which I don't have anything in. So I got to figure out, how do I solve for that angle? So I have an angle down here. I don't see another number, but they give me that. So you should know this circle with the little box in it, that means that is 90 degrees. So this angle here plus the 36, I guess I'm going to call that angle C. So angle C is that one right there, I'm saying, plus the 36. This is not going to fit into this screen. 7. I'll tell you what, so now that you see where angle C is, so that's angle C. So I'm saying angle C plus the 36.87 plus the 90 equals 180. And now that's not too difficult at all to solve for. So if we solve out for that, we get what? 126.87 plus C equals 180. So I need to subtract 126. Let's just erase this. I need to subtract, again, all I did is I added those two together. I need to subtract 126.87, and that gives me the measure of the angle, which would be 50, what? Like 53.13 or something like that. So that's the measure of the angle. So again, that one was way easier. You didn't have to plug stuff back in. You didn't have all of the different expressions with X's. So, oh, and the reason that that's Y is because they're vertical angles. Remember, we said C is congruent to C. So if I solve for C down here, it's going to be the same as C right here. So hopefully that's pretty easy to understand. So that was the whole quiz. I'm going to give you, you can obviously come in and retake that. You can get a lot of points back, but I'll probably give you an exit ticket on at least 3 parts of that quiz during the week. One might be super easy and worth 1 point. One might be a little harder, worth 2. And I might give you one worth 3 or 4. I don't know. We'll see. That number 4 is definitely difficult. So it'll be worth at least 3 points if I give you that one in class. And we're going to do a lot of exit tickets on other stuff all throughout the week. So make sure you're paying attention to all the bell work.